Meanwhile, let's look at the end of the season in the French Ligue 1. You could argue that Nice are, well, the ones that have benefited most for the final day. They squeezed into the final Champions League position with in impressive style against Brest. Was it 6-0?
6-0, yeah. And it was always in their hands on the final day, but there was a lot of pressure on them because, as we said, the three automatic Champions League places had already been taken by Paris Saint-Germain, Marseille and Monaco. Now, that left fourth spot, which takes you into the third qualifying round of the Champions League. So you have the third qualifying round and then the playoff round. So it's a great opportunity. And there were four teams who mathematically could get that place on the final day. So you had Nice, who were already in it. You had Lille, Strasbourg and Lyon. And in the end, there was very little shift between those. Strasbourg lost, so they ended up in seventh. But if PSG win the Cup at the weekend, they will get into the Europa Conference League, which would be great for Strasbourg because they have had a good season. But I think we can't sleep on Nice because
they're up for sale.
Yeah, they're up for sale, but and I don't think that sale's going to happen particularly quickly. By the way,
who's buying a Ligue 1 club now as well? Again, just where they are again.
There are too many uncertains. I think that's the problem because at the moment. You look at next season and the DNCG, the French Financial Control Board, who we're always talking about, they have said to all the clubs in Ligue 1 next season, when you're filling in your form to say how you're going to balance your books next season, and everyone has to do this every season, so you have to describe to the DNCG how you're going to financially see yourself through the next season. And that's where Lyon have come a cropper, for example, and got in trouble with them over the last couple of years. And they've said, at the bit where it says TV revenue, just put 0. I mean, that's mad, isn't it? Because we know that the deal with DAZN is coming to an end. So Ligue 1 is going to create its own channel. Who that's going to be backed by, if there's going to be any upfront fee, whether it's going to be a profit share, who's going to pick up the production costs, whether the partner's going to be Canal Plus or DAZN or Amazon Prime, we just don't know at the moment. And if last year is anything to go by, we probably won't find out until about 3 days before the start of the season, which is a massive problem. So that, firstly, made getting into the Champions League even more important this year. And the fact that PSG, Marseille and Monaco have got there is a massive relief to all of those clubs, and is a massive blow to Lyon, for example, that they haven't got there, and I guess to a lesser extent Lille. But what Nice have done so well is, you talked about how they're up for sale by Ineos. It's remarkable, really, because it's clear that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's interest in Nice has been waning for a very long time. And season upon season, they've cut the budget. The one investment they did make last summer is getting in Francaise, who took Lens to, a point short of the Ligue 1 title with Lens a couple of years back. He's a brilliant coach, and he's proved it this season. So they still have a couple of highly paid players from, like, you look at Sofiane Diop, Gaëtan Laborde, who's earning about 320k a month, who are relics from when Sir Jim was giving it the big one about how we're going to get in the Champions League every season, and we're going to be really big, and we're going to build this club into something. But they are very much anachronisms in the current squad. Where they are at the moment is credit not to Ineos, because they're not really that involved now, but everyone at the club. So Jean-Pierre Rivière, the president, Thaïs and downwards, they've done an unbelievable job to get themselves into fourth place.
Yeah, Jim Ratcliffe, far from saying that we're going to get into the Champions League every season, is now saying, this is what he said in March, I don't particularly enjoy going to watch Nice. There's some irony to come, because there are some good players, but the level of football is not high enough for me to get excited. Whose fault is that, David?
I think it is. It has to lay slowly with him. He hasn't been to one. He apparently hasn't been to one match this season, one Nice game. So, and they performed this admirably without him overseeing them. Man United fans are probably hoping that he's got interest in another club, so he might go and watch them and leave Man United to their own devices as well. So this is through. I think we've got a Coach of the Year shout. I can't really think of too many coaches who have done a better job this year.
No, I think you think Ez, you think Liam Rosigne at Strasbourg, and that's it really in Liga, isn't it? But yeah, he's done an absolutely amazing job.
He's been left with 13, 14 first team players on some match days and what have you as well. Like what they have done is an extraordinary achievement.
And I think you have to look to next season as well and think, how much road have they really got to go? I mean, what he's done and Hayes is admirable. It's really, really good. But I think when you look at, he sort of ended up coming because they've sort of gradually tapped into what a good job Lens were doing for years. I mean, before they got Ez, they got like quite a lot of their recruitment team to come from Lens to Nice. So Florent Ghisolfi, the sporting director, came. He brought a couple of his scouts with him as well. Now, Ghisolfi is seeing which way the wind's blowing. He's off to Roma. Apparently, Roma is an easier job than Nice, which is remarkable to think of. But they're certainly a slightly better resourced, I suppose. But I guess you think you're just expecting Ez to pull a rabbit out of a hat again. Because I think when you look at, it's a great thing for Nice that they've got where they've got. But is it really a good thing for Ligue, would be my question. Because there's no guarantee they're getting to the group stage of the Champions League. Yeah. If they get there, like obviously the amount of money will really change things. Yeah. But I think whenever you see teams in the qualifying stage of a Champions League, you've got two budgets really, haven't you? You've got the, if we qualify for the Champions League budget, if we don't qualify for the Champions League budget. Now, that is obviously a massive difference for them, particularly with the nul point next to the TV receipts. Now, already they've talked about they're going to have to sell to buy. So Evan Guesson,
I was about to say Guesson, yeah.
He's had a brilliant season up front. Now, in a way, they're in a decent position because Terran Moffi, the Nigerian striker who's been out with a knee injury all season, he scored his first goal of the season actually on the final day against Brest, which is a good time for him to turn up. And Moffi is quality. If they can get him back to his best, he'll do very, very well for them. He rejected a move to the Premier League so he could go to Nice. The reverse to Jim Ratcliffe, if you like. But Guesson, who's been brilliant all season, will get sold. And so to me, that says, how hard is it going to be for them to get through a potential 4 games to get into the group stage? There are some sharks in there.
It is. It's tough. But Ice has actually said, like, there's a few people who are playing it down and saying, "Oh, we shouldn't qualify for the Champions League," and he's basically said, "You're absolutely ridiculous. What the hell do we play for? Yeah. If we're not wanting to get in the Champions League, if you're not wanting to win, if you're not wanting to be around there, then why do we even bother turning up? What's the point in even playing this game?"
Yeah, I mean, I sort of wonder, like, from his position, what he made of the European campaign this year, because we heard JJ talking about it on him, and they basically just chucked it. They're a disgrace in the Europa League this year. Now, conversely, that probably helped them get to 4th in Ligue. But how do they? I don't know. I need to be convinced that they actually are able and want to make a decent fist of Europe. I think under Ez it will be different.
Yeah, as long as he's there.
Intensely competitive. He had a great first season. They bloodied some noses, his Lens in the Champions League. You remember they beat Arsenal last season as well?
He's going to be the key thing that props it all up.
Yes.
If he goes, then then I will be downbeat and say, wow, they could, really jot down. It could be a relegation scrap next year, like genuinely.
Given the economics of everything, isn't it the case that all the French teams in Ligue 1 will have to sell to buy?
Yeah, pretty much. Look, until they know what's in the pot, they can't do anything really at the moment.
It's not just Ligue 1 as well. Like we started this show off saying about the Premier League money in the Europa League. Look, every other league is going to be sell to buy. Spain, Portugal, Italy, France, everybody is. So that's just the nature of it.